Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here, continuing on with my collectibles guide of Quantum Break. This is Act 4, following from my previous decisions. In Junction 3, I chose Martin Hatch, although realize that most of your collectibles will be the exact same, and I'll mention the ones that are different. If you made a different choice, don't worry. Act 1, Part 4, from the beginning, go forward and to the very end, down the staircase to find your first Chronon Source. Then from then on there, you'll want to turn around, go up the box, and onto the ceiling. Instead of going onto the next ceiling, make sure you go onto the small awning on the right-hand side to pick up your second Chronon Source. Once inside the building, directly in front of you, you should spot a TV, which you'll want to pick up. From this TV, continue forward where you'll get a cutscene, which I have conveniently skipped in the video, and down the stairs you will find a radio. Now, if you haven't noticed this already, if you choose the PR approach in the first, or at the end of the first act rather, you'll have Teresa Sedmak as your radio host, whereas if you choose Hardline, you have Bobby Radford. So keep in mind that your radio host will be different depending on your first act choice, although all the radios are in the same place and a lot of the contents of that audio is the same. After coming outside of the building through the window, you can find your third Chronon Source directly behind you. This one's a little bit sneaky as you exit. You'll come through a gate on the dockyard, and as soon as you come through the gate, you'll see a ladder directly in front of you, but another sneaky one directly behind us. Find Chronon Source number 4. We'll make our way up a set of stairs onto the road level of the bridge, where we can find narrative objects number 3, 4, and 5, all quite similar, like in a close vicinity to each other. And then directly next to narrative object number 5, we can find Chronon Source number 5 of 6.
Don't try to approach him, just call the number, okay?
It's even worse than my passport picture.
Upon reaching the highest point of the bridge, we'll need to run across and go down a ladder. Before we do that, make sure you pick up the last Chronon Source of Act 4, Part 1, directly on the railing next to the ladder. Moving on to Act 4, Part 2, right next to Beth at the start of the mission, find her 2010 plans, and then across the room next to the door, you can find another narrative object, which is this corkboard.
This was the guy delivering the speech at the gala. Potential ally?
Now you'll talk to Beth, and after speaking to her, you can gain access to the 2 doors that lead outside of this room. She'll walk through the door directly in front of you, but if you go through the door on the right-hand side, you can find narrative object number 3.
Hello, Riverport. Well, it's been a rough night for us.
So now on my screen, you'll see a total of 7 narrative objects. That is because I have Amy. If you have Nick, I think you get 2 less than me, but they'll be in more or less the exact same spot. So just follow exactly what I'm doing and look in the same places that I look. Just keep in mind, if you have Nick instead of Amy, you might have less collectibles, and they might be in slightly different locations with slightly different contents. Talk to Amy, and then she'll reveal a narrative object on her computer, and then she'll talk about all of the options and stuff next to her that she's laid out for you. So interact with the TV. That doesn't actually count. I just interacted with it just to make sure. And directly behind us, we will find 6 pieces of documents, like literally all right next to each other. Just speed through them. Like I said, if you get Nick, I think there's 4 or 5 and not 6, but they should more or less be in the same spot. Now, there is a quantum ripple on the timeline that shows up before these collectibles. It's actually the last collectible I'm going to show you on the screen for various reasons. You want to collect the quantum ripple last before finishing off the mission.
He was under arrest in the same transport as me.
Jury's still out on Burke.
Serene's original manifesto for Monarch.
They had us practically memorize this.
So now I'm next to Sofia, Amaral, and she's going to be working on the machine. I'm going to speak to her. She's going to tell me to go reset some switches and whatnot, examine the controls. On the left-hand side, you'll see some seats here to view the pool party, and you'll actually need to jump up on these seats via this section right here. You can only jump up from the side to access this Chronon Source, number 1 of 3. After examining the controls, you'll realize there's a problem with them, and you're going to go need to fix that problem, which will now allow you to open up a door leading into these kind of side washrooms. Now, inside of the first room, you'll notice that there is a stuffed animal, which is not necessary to be viewed, although I view it anyways, and a photo, which I view for narrative object number 12. After entering the next room, there will be a cutscene. Watch this cutscene until the very end, as there's an achievement for watching it, and if you skip the cutscene, you won't get the achievement. So after that cutscene, which unlocks Distant Mirror, you can pick up the collectible on this really nasty bench slash kind of like mattress. I don't really know what it is. I guess it's supposed to be a mattress of some sort. Pick up that journal, then continue along the washroom to where Beth is waiting for you. And in the corner stall, you can go inside to pick up Chronon Source number 2 of 3. From then on there, you'll need to do a little bit of platforming to make your way up this ladder, and then jump across a gap where you can find Chronon Source number 3 of 3. Again, make sure you're spending your Chronon Sources on upgrades. They're really useful and help you a lot in the game. So yeah, I'd highly recommend you're spending these points. And then from then on there, before ending the mission, speak to Amy or Nick again. They'll be in a slightly different location this time, and that should be your Quantum Ripple, which will be on this right-hand side station as you enter. Remember to do this before finishing the mission. For some reason, it'll show up as collectible number 5, even though it's the last one you can get chronologically. In Act 4, Part 3, we are now in the swimming pool in the year 2010. On our way down the steps, you can find a radio. Remember, your radio station depends on your choice in Junction 1, and a laptop right next to it. Make sure you pick up both of those narrative objects. From that last laptop, we can find our first Chronon Source. This is going to be in that little bay area where we talked to either Amy or Nick in the last part. So, again, it's going to be there, but this is a slightly different version of that same level, which is why it's there and it wasn't there last time. Now, a little bit later on, we'll notice that mural painting that actually unlocked an achievement for us in the last chapter. We're in that same bathroom, but this time it's not as crusty and old. We can find Beth's journal, and surprise, surprise, this is where Beth lived in the alternate dimension that she got sent to. It's a little bit confusing. If you haven't been paying attention to the story, I highly recommend you have been. Up the stairs around the corner, get the Chronon Source, down the stairs on the right-hand side of the hallway before meeting up with Beth again. Pick up narrative object number 4 of 6. Also, I do recommend that you guys are watching the diaries and journals available in the extras menu that unlock as you progress through the game. They explain a lot of stuff for you that some of these collectibles don't necessarily do a great job explaining. A little bit later on in the mission, you'll come through this dark section, and you'll notice that there is a lot of wires running underneath your feet. And you'll notice this staircase to the top, and the objective is to follow Beth. Before going through the giant double doors, make sure you go into the lockers to find Chronon Source number 3 of 3.
What do we got here?
From that Chronon Source, we'll make our way upstairs where we'll meet up with Beth, and there's a whole bunch of kind of things on the wall we can interact with. There are 2 narrative objects, the last 2 of this section. Make sure you pick up both of them, and then equip yourself with lots of guns that you enjoy using and that you're good with, and then proceed to finish off Part 3.
You need gear? Take whatever you need. The rest of it's going in the river, along with everything else I brought here.
That's a little drastic.
My time here is done, Jack.
Now, Act 4 has 4 parts, and at the beginning of Act 4, Part 4, you can find your last Quantum Ripple in the entire game. Upon crossing a scaffolding metal type bridge with Beth here, just make sure you cycle around to the right-hand side and press this fuse box to turn off the lights. You'll see the Quantum Ripple logo in the top right corner, and if you've been following along with the videos, you should unlock your final Quantum Ripple for an achievement. Just after that, you will jump down onto the ground floor and follow her into a warehouse. Before we do that, turn around. One of the sneaky ones behind us. At the end of this area behind us, we should notice a Chronon Source. This is one of 3. Upon entering the workshop, go up the stairs to the right-hand side behind some of the storage units, and you should find Chronon Source number 2 of 3. Just after that, make your way into the middle section of the workshop to pick up 3 narrative objects, all pretty close to each other here. One on a desk, one on a desk, and another one on a desk.
Building this thing was his life for 11 years.
Yeah.
Hey, Riverport. I'm pretty sure you folks are having...
From that trio of narrative objects, just follow the objective and go towards this kind of bunker with a door to it. Before entering, go up these set of boxes on top of this container where you can find your last Chronon Source in this area. And the next 2 collectibles are pretty simple, very close by to what you need to do in order to finish the mission anyways. So we'll drop down. We're going into this container. Just as we enter on the left-hand side of the door, we can find Will's whiteboard. From then, we have to use the time vision in order to set up some of the computers we'll need to open the door. Upon interacting with the computers, we will open a door that has been locked, and once inside of that locked door, you should be able to very easily spot a collectible before finishing off the rest of this section.
Door's unlocked. Come take a look at this.
And now we are in Act 4 Junction. This is the last junction of the game where there is 1 narrative object at the top of the stairs. Instead of going to the left and speaking to the soldier about your medicine, go into your office and look at your computer to find the only narrative object of this section.
Your treatments were destroyed, but there was one left.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like if the video is helpful, as it helps me out a lot. Share it with a friend if you think they might enjoy it. Special shout out to Heron Giggles as well as everyone on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you in the next video. Peace!